Two researchers spent 20 years actually hunting down American millionaires, expecting mansions and sports cars. What they found instead was a guy in a paid-off house, driving a 10-year-old pickup, wearing a watch from a discount store. He owned a pest control company. To his neighbors, he looked broke. He could have bought their whole block in cash. That book is called The Millionaire Next Door, and it uncovered something that still shocks people. Self-employed people are less than 20% of workers, but they are about 2/3 of the millionaires in this country. Business ownership is the single biggest millionaire factory in America, and the businesses doing it are not the ones you would ever guess. We guess wrong for a reason. The loud money gets all the attention. Think of the tech founder, the influencer, that one crypto kid. So we assume that is where the wealth lives, but the loud money is rare. A lot of it is faked on a lease. The quiet money is everywhere, and it almost never looks like money at all. It looks like a man in work boots who owns 4 storage lots. They are, in the author's own word, dull. Welding contractors, pest control, mobile home parks, paving companies, beer distributors, not one glamorous thing on the list. These people got quietly, unbelievably rich, being the boring owner of a service everyone needs and nobody thinks about. So today I am going to walk you through 10 of these boring businesses. I will name the exact patterns that make them work and the one that beats all 10 without you lifting a wrench. Because there's a twist buried in this, and it changes who should actually do any of it. I'm Tom. This channel is about real personal finance, the kind that actually works for normal people, not the kind that gets you to click a thumbnail. No motivational fluff or fantasy returns. We just discuss what the math actually does over time. If that's what you want, hit subscribe. Let me give you the 10, because the patterns inside them are the real lesson. Number 1. Laundromats. People need clean clothes every week. They pay in small chunks, and they come back without being reminded. The machines run whether you are standing there or not. Number 2. Self-storage. This one runs on a quiet truth about human nature. People do not like letting go of their stuff. They rent a unit for one move. Then they keep paying for years. The average tenant stays well over a year, paying every single month for boxes they will probably never open. Number 3. Vending routes. Small machines, small bills, boring as dirt. You stock them and you collect the bills. Then you drive to the next one. The magic is simple. A machine does not sleep, does not quit, and never needs a paycheck. Number 4. Car washes. You buy the equipment once and then volume does the work. People pay $10 or $15 without thinking, and they come back every time the car looks dirty. Often the land underneath becomes worth more than the wash itself. Number 5. Pest control. Customers sign up once and stay on a route for years. The bugs come back every season, so the revenue comes back every month. It is about as unglamorous as work gets, which is precisely why it pays. Number 6. Laundromat's cousin, the car detailing business. Low startup, high margin, and a steady stream of people who want their car to feel new without buying a new one. One person, some equipment, repeat customers. Number 7. Property management. You're the bridge between two people. Landlords who do not want the headaches and tenants who need a number to call. 50 doors at a modest fee per door is a real income, built on tasks nobody else wants to do. Number 8. Pool or lawn care. Same shape as pest control. A route, a recurring bill, a service that has to happen again next month no matter what. Boring and repeatable. And very sticky. Number 9. ATM ownership. You place a machine in a busy spot and collect a small fee on every withdrawal. It is not passive. You still load the cash and check on it, but the pattern is the same. Small repeat payments, low drama. Number 10. A simple bookkeeping service. No storefront, no inventory, just a skill people hate doing for themselves. Small businesses need it every month, and once you are reliable, they almost never leave. Now step back and look at all 10 together, because the categories are not the point. The pattern is the point. Every single one of them passes 3 tests. Test 1. The customer pays you at least once a month without you having to chase them. It is tied to a habit or a need, something that keeps returning on its own. Test 2. Each individual payment is low drama. Nobody calls a family meeting to approve a $12 car wash or a $2 vending soda. The price slips under the emotional radar, so the income stays steady. Test 3. Over time, you own the asset underneath the cash flow, the machines and the units, that land underneath. Those roots you spent years building. You are not renting your income, you are building something you actually hold. Those 3 filters are genuinely useful. If a business does not pass all 3, it is a job, not an engine. But notice what the 3 filters do not include. They do not include a 90% success rate. And now I have to tell you the truth about that number in the title, because this is where it matters. There is no business on earth with a 90% success rate. Not one. The government tracks every business born in America, and the real numbers are brutal. About 1 in 5 dies in the first year. Almost half are gone within 5 years. By year 10, roughly 2 out of 3 have closed for good. Only about a third make it a decade. And that is true for the boring ones just as much as the exciting ones. The same book everyone quotes on this actually warned you. The average small business owner earns about $6,200 a year in profit. Most of them never get rich. It is a thin top slice, maybe 5 or 10%, that builds the real wealth. Stanley and Danko said it flatly. Starting a business is not a safe path to money. It is risky and exhausting and uncertain. About 80% of those millionaire owners did not even want their own kids to take over because they knew exactly how hard it was. So hold both truths at once. Boring businesses create a lot of millionaires, and most people who start one never become a millionaire. Both are true, and the gap between them is the entire secret. So here is the real question. If the business does not create the high success rate, what does? Go back to the survival data. 2 out of 3 businesses die within 10 years. But the ones that live almost always share the same unsexy traits. The owner bought something boring and necessary instead of trendy. They kept their costs low and their ego smaller. They did not blow the first good year on a nicer truck. And instead of spending the profit, they reinvested it. They showed up and did the same dull thing over and over while everyone around them chased the next exciting idea and burned out. That is the 90%. It is not a business you buy. It is a temperament you bring. The laundromat does not have a success rate. The owner does. And here is how you can tell it is about the person and not the machine. Take 2 people and hand them the identical laundromat. One raises prices a nickel when costs rise, fixes the broken dryer the same day, and quietly banks the profit for 3 years. The other skims the good months for a boat and ignores the slow leak under machine 4. Same business, same corner, same customers. One builds wealth, one is out of business by year 4. The variable was never the laundromat. I have watched this up close. My neighbor Marcus is the kind of guy who chases the exciting version of everything. A few years back, he came into some money and almost bought a little car wash. He was convinced it was a 90% sure thing because a video told him so. What he was really buying was a second job. At a corner he had never studied, with equipment he did not understand, funded by savings he could not afford to lose. He did not buy it in the end, and the thing that saved him was not better luck. It was finally asking whether he wanted to run a car wash or whether he just wanted the money it promised. Those are completely different questions, and almost nobody stops to tell them apart. Now let me be honest about something, because most videos with this title will not be. For the large majority of people watching this, running one of these 10 businesses is the wrong move. Most people do not actually want to unclog a machine at 6 a.m., or chase a tenant for late rent, or drive a vending route in the rain. They want the cash flow, not the job. And that is a completely reasonable thing to want. But a laundromat is not passive income. It is a job you bought with real risk that you lose the money you put in. So here is the 11th business. It is more boring than all 10. It passes all 3 filters cleanly, and it never asks you to fix a single machine. You buy a tiny slice of every one of these businesses at once, and you never touch them. That is what a total market index fund actually is. It is fractional ownership of hundreds or thousands of real companies. And a lot of them are exactly these boring, necessary cash-flowing machines. The company that hauls the trash, a utility that keeps the lights on, distributors and storage operators and payment network. You end up owning the boring economy itself in one move. Look at what that does to all 3 filters. It pays you every quarter in dividends. That is your rent for owning the asset. Nobody agonizes over buying it. And you own the asset directly, your name on shares of the underlying businesses. It passes every test the laundromat passes. But it also fixes the one thing the laundromat cannot: the survival problem. A single small business has about a 1 in 3 chance of surviving 10 years. But the index does not live or die with any one of them. Companies fail and get replaced by the next one automatically while you do nothing. Every rolling 20-year period in the history of the American market has been positive. Every single one. You cannot get that number from one laundromat. You can only get it from owning all of them. Let me put real money on it. Say you have $198,000, which is roughly what a decent laundromat costs. Buy the laundromat, and in a good scenario you clear maybe $2,000 to $4,000 a month. That is before your own labor and before repairs. And with a coin flip chance, the whole thing is gone in 5 years. Now take that same $198,000, put it in a total market fund, and do nothing for 10 years. At the market's long-run average, it grows to just under $390,000. No employees, no 6 a.m. calls, no chance of the whole thing going to zero, and it paid you a rising dividend the entire time. There is one more quiet advantage, and it is the biggest one. You do the work once. You set up the automatic buy, and then the 10 boring businesses report to you instead of the other way around. There is no hiring and no firing. No broken machine drags you out of bed at 6 a.m. The trash still gets hauled. The storage units still fill. The payments still clear. And your slice of all of it grows while you sleep. That is the thing that get-rich videos promise. And the laundromat almost never delivers. And think about what you become in that arrangement. You are the landlord now, not the maintenance crew. When you own a slice of the whole market, you sit above thousands of these boring machines. You collect a small cut of all of them. The operators wake up early. They fix the dryers. You own the building they are standing in, metaphorically across the entire economy. That is the position the millionaire next door was quietly buying his way into the whole time. The index fund is the boring business with the actual high success rate. It is the one the title was really describing. And almost nobody names it because you cannot sell a course on it, and it does not make an exciting thumbnail. Now, I want to be fair because some of you genuinely do want to operate. You like building things, you like the control, you would rather run the laundromat than watch a number on a screen. That is real. And for you, the 10 are not a trap. They are a map. If that is you, here's the single most important honest tip in this whole video. Do not start one from scratch. Starting from zero is where that 20% first-year death rate lives. Instead, buy an existing boring business from a retiring owner, one with years of steady books you can actually read. You skip the deadliest phase entirely and step into cash flow that already exists. Established and boring beats brand new and exciting almost every time, and go in with your eyes open on the numbers. Remember the survival data. Even a boring service business only has a bit better than even odds of lasting 5 years. And worse than even odds of lasting 10. Buying an existing one with real books does not erase that risk. It just lets you see it clearly before you sign. You are inspecting years of actual cash flow. You are not believing a projection. That is the difference between a calculated bet and a hopeful one. And whether you operate or you invest, the underlying rule is exactly the same, which is the whole point. Own something boring and necessary. Keep your costs and your ego low. Reinvest the profit instead of spending it. And do the dull thing for far longer than feels exciting. That is the real 90%, not a business, a behavior. The people who quietly become the millionaire next door are not the ones who found a magic industry. They are the ones who could stand to be bored on purpose for 20 years. Everyone else chased the shiny thing and wondered why they never got ahead. So here's what I would actually do this week. Be honest with yourself about which person you are. If you truly want to operate, go find 3 boring businesses for sale in your town with a real track record. Then run them through the 3 filters. If you just want the wealth without the second job, then your boring business is the index fund. The move is to own a slice of the whole economy and leave it alone. Here is the honest bottom line on the whole idea. The boring businesses are real and they really do make millionaires. But they make millionaires out of boring people, not boring industries. The industry is just the stage. The behavior is the actor. And whichever path you pick, the enemy is the same. It is the part of you that wants this to be exciting. The part that wants a 90% sure thing and a fast result. That part is what buys the wrong business or sells the index in a scary year. Beat that part and you almost cannot lose. Feed it, and no business on this list will save you. Either way, you win the same way. Quietly, slowly, by staying boring long after everyone else got bored of being boring. Tell me in the comments which one you are, the operator or the owner. And tell me which of the 10 you have actually thought about buying. I read every comment and replied to as many as I can. And if you want the next video, hit subscribe. It is the one on how to actually buy a slice of that whole boring economy without overpaying or overthinking it. I'll see you in the next one.